Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'm going to talk about carnivore and scientific studies. So, do we have proof that the carnivore lifestyle is the correct way to eat? We can take historical data from ancient bones and stuff that we have found, and we can, study those bones and figure out what those people ate. And from what they have found in those studies is that yes, we are made to predominantly eat a animal-based diet. Now, are we meant to eat a full-blown carnivore all-meat diet? I mean, they found that depends on the region where they have found these skeletons and these remains. So it all just depends. But what you need to keep in mind is back then, we didn't have the variety or the easy access to all of these items. And we didn't have access to all this processed food. So yes, we may have come across some root vegetables, some berries, apples, and such. But we came across them because we walked and we moved and we settled and we moved and we settled. And we ate them sparingly, and we ate them when they were in season for the region that those people were in. We couldn't just go down to the store in the middle of winter time and buy fruits and vegetables or processed foods. So keep that in mind. Yes, we were predominantly animal-based from those studies that they did on those skeletal remains because they have the science to pull that data from those bones. But other scientific studies about cholesterol, the overall health of a human, we can't technically have studies that are not opinions. So keep in mind, most scientific papers are opinions, especially when it comes to the human health. Because you cannot take a person that just became pregnant and lock them in a cell and control everything that they do until that baby is born. And then you cannot take that baby that was just born and lock them in the cell until the day they die so you can control everything that they're doing. And everything. What air they're breathing, the quality of air they're breathing, the quality of water they're drinking, the quality of food they're drinking. You can't take your human being and ethically do a controlled study to show that any type of diet is better than the other. Okay, you cannot do it. So when it comes to that, we also have to keep in mind that our genes are different. My genes are different than what my parents are, even though they're my parents. So our genes as individuals are going to act differently. You can take identical twins from birth after controlling their mother, control them, and they could, if you put them both on a carnivore diet, the same exact thing, same exact errors, same exact scenario. They could have different outcomes because their genes are different to an extent, and how our bodies react are going to be completely different. So there's a lot to come into play to where their scientific research on this type of stuff, the human diet, are opinions. Okay, so this channel in my life is all about my opinion of how I think the carnivore lifestyle is what we should be eating. Most of my opinion comes from my husband's experience and my experience. And I have done research on certain topics like cholesterol and how it doesn't matter. What matters is your HDL and your triglyceride levels. And you can kind of know that by blood work from individuals. When you do change their diet, you can come to a determination that the carnivore lifestyle is a better option. So certain things you can determine, but there is no actual scientific proof that the vegetarian diet is better for anybody, that the vegan diet's better for anybody, that the carnivore diet's better for anybody, and it's gonna, like, any of those diets are gonna cause catastrophic health. But we can look at past history and we can determine that we should be animal-based at least. So with those studies, I think we can consider those more truthful than the studies we have now. We have too much processed foods in our diet to honestly listen to anybody that determines and deems the carnivore lifestyle a failure and not healthy. And when you look at the other studies of like fruits and vegetables, yes, they have toxins, but you also have those paid studies that are funded by big companies that are telling these little tiny scientists, hey, I'll pay you all this money if you say fruits and vegetables are good for you though. And I need you to tell them that they need to eat this much. So keep that in mind as well. Back then, there wasn't such big influence with money back then. I mean, yes, you still ran into that problem, but it wasn't as severe as it is today. I mean, you're looking at CocaCola funding a majority of these studies. Coca-Cola is the #1 funded person that funds food stamps in the WIC program. So they are purposely getting people to eat the standard American diet because there's these studies out there that tell me that, you know, animal fats are bad for me. I need to be eating margarine and seed oils, and I need to be making sure that if the oil is liquid at room temperature, that's what I need to be eating. But if it's solid at room temperature, it's bad for me. And it's because that's what gets pushed, because those are what get funded, as well as these studies of the carnivore lifestyle are not usually funded. And it's usually, if they are funded, it's usually funded by smaller corporations or the person doing the study, and they have to get the money. It's expensive to do these studies. They're not free. They're not cheap. You have to have money to do studies. So when someone is doing a carnivore lifestyle study, which there are a few people that are actually doing some right now, that it's going to take a while for them to actually come out, right? Because it takes time to actually get these studies and actually study them to determine the long term and what it actually is doing and all that stuff. Like, it takes time to collect all that data. But these people are actually getting, you know, defunded and threatened to not post this information as well, because the people that are funding all these other propaganda studies are basically scaring these people that are doing legit studies. And then these people that are doing these legit studies are, most of the time, are fearful to even post this study. So you got to keep that in mind as well, that the studies that we find on Google or any other scholar, you have to be very careful with, because the ones that are going to tell you that the carnivore lifestyle is bad are going to be the ones that are probably majority funded, and they got a lot of money to say those things. So keep that in mind as well. Is the carnivore lifestyle the right choice? I believe it is. There are, you know, we can go back in time and with archaeology and all that and do studies of these human remains they're finding, and they have found that we are primarily animal-based creatures. We are to eat meat. I believe that truly, that we are to eat mainly meat. Now, do we maybe eat fruits and vegetables? Maybe the ones that were back then. Most of the fruits and vegetables we have now are genetically modified. Okay? An apple today is not the same apple back then. Broccoli didn't exist back then. Okay? So you got to keep this in mind, that a lot of the fruits and vegetables we have nowadays are either did not exist, or are not even the same exact species of what we were eating. Okay? They are considering that fruits back then were less sweet and they were smaller. Okay? The fruits we have nowadays are genetically modified to be bigger and sweeter. So when they say one serving an apple or 2 servings of fruit a day, okay, well that's a lot of sugar compared to 2 servings of fruits back in the day when they were original. Okay? And keep in mind, who even says that we are supposed to eat 2 servings of fruits a day with 3 servings of veggies with 6 servings of grain? We didn't do that back then. We didn't count our calories or our macros or any of that kind of stuff. We weren't told to eat fiber back in the day. No, we did what was instinctual, which was eating majority of the animal that we killed. And back then, we actually ate the brains, kidneys, heart, liver. We drank the blood. And we ate the bone marrow. We ate almost the entire animal. We used the entire animal for food or to live. Like the hides were to keep us warm, and the bones, we cook them for bone broth. We use them to, create tools and all that other stuff. Like we use the whole animal. You don't see that now. You can literally walk down to the grocery store when it's snowing out, which by the way it did snow, and buy whatever fruit and vegetables and freaking processed bullcrap you want. Okay? Where back in the day, we would be eating off that elk me and my husband killed last month. That's what we would be living off of the entire winter, unless we can find, once that elk is gone, we would hunt another one. And we'd live off of that one elk until it was gone, and we wouldn't live off anything else. It's wintertime. Where am I going to find? What am I going to find? A couple berries here and there in the wilderness? Sure. But that's it. I'm not going to be worried about, oh my gosh, I didn't have 2 servings of fruit today or 3 servings of vegetables today. I didn't have 6 servings of grain today, guys. I didn't have 1 glass of milk. We didn't think like that. This was all brought on to make us sick. They figured it out. Scientists and the big corporations got together and they figured it out. If you don't believe me, one of the things you can research is the reasons why Kellogg's cereal was invented. Okay? Research that, and they figured it out. They figured it out how to make us sick and keep relying on the system and to make money off of us. Because we didn't count, like I said, calories or macros and knew, oh, I need this much fiber today, guys, so I can go to the bathroom. We didn't do that back then. So why are we doing it now? Why are we changing the process that wasn't broken and breaking it and then brainwashing people to believe this crap? And then when you try to talk to people about why it's wrong, they get extremely defensive and either A, stop talking to you so you no longer have that family member or friend, or B, whenever you're around them, it's this hostile environment and you can't even have an adult conversation with people because they believe the doctors, they believe the studies, they don't comprehend studies. Majority of people and individuals don't know how to read studies and comprehend them. I personally don't really know how to read them either, but I listen to Bart K on YouTube. If you guys don't follow him, please find him and follow him. I have learned a lot about studies and risk and all that from him. And I did take a statistic class, so I kind of understand some of the stuff he's saying. So it kind of makes sense to me when I listen to him. And he explains why that study doesn't work. Why it's an opinion, not an actual scientific study. And so He's really good at explaining that kind of stuff. But us, the general population, doesn't get that. They're like, oh, well, a study came out. Oh, a study came out. A study came out. Okay, well, that's not how that works. It's not how the studies work. But with some studies, you can also find studies that contradict that other study. So keep that in mind, too. There's so much contradictive information out there as well that a lot of people, that's another issue, is they're confused. Well, this study said this, but now this study's saying this. I don't know what to do. Right? There's studies that just came out saying seed oils are bad for you. They were invented for machinery, not for human consumption. But yet we're still promoting seed oils. And margarine. Like, what? No! Stop! Stop the madness. These seed oils were invented for machinery, not for human consumption, and somebody got this bright idea, let's just feed it to humans. And we got even more sick. Like, stop. But then there's contradicting stuff out there saying, well, saturated fats are bad for you, so you don't eat butter. It's bad. It's going to cause you to have heart disease. Go ahead and eat this inflammatory seed oil, though. So that's also the problem, is those contradictive studies. So, to keep this video kind of short, which I was hoping, but I kind of ranted again. In short, you need to be your own scientific study. You need to find what works for you. Try the carnivore lifestyle for at least 30 days. Full-blown carnivore for 30 days. Document everything and see how you feel. If you keep feeling great, keep going. Keep going for years and years and years. There are carnivores that have been doing this for 65 plus years. There's people out there. There's people that have been doing this for 3 months and feel amazing. There's people that have been doing this for 2 weeks and feel amazing. There's people, majority of people that I kind of know that I've found, I'm sure there's more out there that have been longer, have been doing this for 5 to 10 years. Full-blown carnivore, and their life's amazing, their health's amazing, their blood work's amazing. They have no unhealthy markers per the blood work or any of that stuff. So be your own scientific experiment, and when you do this, document your journey. Even if you document it on someone else's channel in their comment section. Because with the Carnivore Lifestyle, we have that group. And most carnivores that don't want to do the social media platform, which is great, I commend you. It is hard work. We love seeing those comments in our comment section because we know non-carnivores and the vegans and the standard American diet believers and all that are looking at those comments when they are viewing these videos. So those testimonials just help others, and it helps our community, just helps us make our stance known even more. So at least when you're document on someone's channel that you really like, and put in the comments on their videos how you're doing, what has changed, what you've improved. And just keep going, because life is there's more to life than just food. Okay? Live your best life until the day you die. Stop rotting on the couch in pain and no energy and not having, the energy to do things and enjoy the rest of your life. We have one life to live. We're not coming back when we're dead. So stop relying on food and find other joys in life to do. And do your own research. Research the topic multiple times, multiple areas, different resources and everything like that. Research that topic for a while, for a couple months. If you're worried about cholesterol, research cholesterol for a couple months. Find different studies. Don't just find the one or the two. Find one that's one. Find another one that's different than that one. Find another one that's different than those two. So that way you can kind of start getting your gears rolling and start questioning things and then look into other things. I think that's enough for my rant, today. So, be your own study and be your own opinion. And in my opinion, the carnivore lifestyle is the way we should be living. And on that note, like always, don't forget that like button, check out that join button, make sure you guys subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.